Hello and welcome to this introduction to the beginner's AutoCAD course using the architectural example. So the way this course will work is throughout the course we'll be working in two phases. We'll be learning core skills, which is your commands, your modifying tools, and just in general how to use them. We'll then be doing a project which will progress as we learn new skills. So we'll be switching between a blank drawing, learning the core skills of creation and modification, and then in the project chapters we'll be completing this building layout step by step. As we learn new skills, we'll then be putting it onto a title block, adding text and dimensions and getting it ready so we could print it out and present it to someone as you would in the real world. But we're not just going to learn all the core skills in one go. That tends to become not just a bit boring, but you can easily forget skills you've learned when you've just bombarded with skill after skill. So the way I like to teach is to first teach the core elements that you need to get going, and so you don't get too overloaded and forget what you taught. We'll then switch to doing some of our project and beginning the project and actually putting that into practice. Once we've got the basic elements of the project, we'll move back to learning some more advanced core skills and then switch back to the project and put those into practice. And by doing it this way, learning the core element and then putting it into practice and switching between the two throughout the course, you don't get too overloaded with the knowledge before you've put it into practice and learnt to use it. A lot of courses will teach you every command and just go through them all, and you just don't understand why you're learning it and why you would do that way. By switching to your project and then putting that skill into use, you will learn not just how to do it, but why you do it and why you would do something a particular way. And it helps to set that skill in your mind and really learn to use the software properly. So by the end of the course, you will be able to produce a standard layout of a floor plan using correct CAD techniques, using blocks, layers, and all the type of CAD management. And you will know enough to be able to work as a CAD technician in kind of a junior, newly trained role with all the skills you need going forward. We won't just teach you in this course how to use the software, but how to use it in industry. I myself have over 20 years in this industry in a variety of disciplines. I've worked on all sorts of projects, so I can bring real world knowledge to this course and teach you how it is actually used out there in the real world. There's a big difference between someone who's taught themselves AutoCAD and someone who's used it in industry and knows how to use it properly. And that is down to the CAD management tools and the way your drawings are presented. So after you've done this course, your drawings will look professional. So as you work through this course, you can just work on a blank drawing just while you follow along and do the core skills modules as we're learning those techniques. And then you can have another file open, which is your project. And when we get to the end of the project chapters, you can save that, go back to a blank drawing to learn the further techniques, and come back to your project and continue working on it. And by the end, you will have a finished model and drawing done to a professional standard. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is begin just learning the basics, learn about the software and how to use it and get started. Okay, so here we are in this first proper lesson with our new installation of AutoCAD Open, and we're just going to look at some basics here. This is just a very brief overview of the software. Again, I don't want to bore you with too much detail you don't need at the moment or you won't understand. So we're just going to have a quick look of what we're presented with when we first open a new installation of the software. Now, if you are using someone else's software, or maybe It might be an installation that's been installed in the workplace, or something you've had on your computer for a while and you've kind of been messing about with. Your screen may look a bit different here. This is most of the default settings from a new installation, with just a few drawings I've had open here. And if this list on yours will be completely different, it's just your recent drawings you've worked on, recent documents. So it may have other things you've worked on, things someone else has worked on, or it may be completely empty if you've just installed it. Okay, so don't worry about that. Other than that, you should see pretty much a similar thing, the same screen. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start a new drawing. Okay, so that's up here, the top left, you will see this kind of sheet icon here. We're going to click that, and that's just to start a new drawing. Okay, so here we go. And with AutoCAD, when you start a new document, it comes preloaded with different settings depending on what it thinks you're going to do. So rather than just start from the beginning all the time, you start with a template, and it's just a blank drawing that already contains some just some basic settings in the background. And that's why when you say new drawing, it will ask which template you want to use. There's different things depending on what you're doing, and you can save your own templates. We're going to have a course all on CAD management, which we'll go into that, but that's way advanced for now. All you need to do for now is select the one that just says acad.dwt, okay, and open that, and this will present you with a new drawing. Now, you may or may not have this panel on the left hand side. Okay, we'll look at that later, but you should have now a blank screen. You may not have this also. We're going to look at all that and how to get your setup the same as mine. Okay, so let me just close that. Okay, so just in case you didn't have that, I've turned those off, and this is a completely blank screen. Okay, I recommend having this little view thing on, and you can do that under your options. We're going to look at the options in a minute. Okay, but first of all, while we've got this blank screen, I'll just go through the basics here with you. So at the top, you've got your these are kind of standard commands you have in various software. Things like new, open, save, save as, print, and we've got some mobile options I wouldn't worry about at the moment. But that's kind of a basic, what used to be under kind of file and file menus. So it's just your saves, your opens, that kind of thing. I won't worry about that. This is, you can actually select what comes up here, okay, but you won't, as a beginner, you won't know what most of these are. How it loads with the default installation is quite good, and I just leave that as it is, okay. Then you've got these boxes underneath. Now, if you can't see these, you have various options of how they are shown, okay. So if yours looks anything like that, you just need to go through that button, and I recommend having it in this layout, okay, to follow along the course. And these are basically your main tool panels. So in AutoCAD, we work with panels and we work with file menus. So along the top, you'll have all these kind of things. It's going to look very complicated and maybe a bit intimidating at first. Just don't worry about it. Just ignore all them for now. We don't need them. We're going to use these as we go, and it's going to be much more intuitive that way. But basically, you've got the main tools under this home menu, which are draw, modify, annotation, blocks, etc. Okay, again, we're going to look at all that as we go. And then you've got your main blank area. This is kind of your drawing space. So if you imagine your drawing board, this is where you would actually draw. So this is your area you can use, okay? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to set that up with those options we talked about. So if you go up to this big red A in the top left and click that, you'll see down here you have a box options. And then under options, we have these various tabs here. Okay, so I want you to go to user preferences, and there's one right click customization. And then I want you to check these boxes so it looks like my screen. So the top one is repeat last command, middle one is shortcut menu, and bottom one is enter. Okay, if you select them that way, you're going to be able to follow along. If not, your mouse isn't going to perform the same way as mine, and it's just going to complicate things. You're not going to understand what I'm doing when I'm clicking. So if you just, for the purpose of this course, if not already, select them like this. I recommend you get used to using it this way. This is how most people in my workplace use them. This is a really fast way of working. Okay, so apply that, and then we're going to go under 3D modeling under this tab, and down here you've got display tools and viewport. Make sure all these are ticked on that one, okay, and apply that, and that will bring up this view thing there. Okay, it might have already been ticked, don't worry about it. And that's it, and that's all we need to know for now, really. In the next chapter we're going to look at a bit more about zooming and panning around and using the mouse, etc. But your CAD now should look the same as mine, and you'll be able to follow along in the course.